My name is Claire Navarro. I am 31 years old. I work in family medicine. People trust me with their worst fears before they trust anyone else. I am good at staying calm. I am, I've been told, unusually hard to rattle. That composure took years to build, because there was a time when I let a man stand at our engagement party and tell 47 people, our families, our friends, the woman who used to babysit me, that I was lucky he had chosen me. And I smiled. I held my wine glass. I said nothing. What nobody in that room knew, what Daniel didn't know, was that I had already begun to leave. Not with my feet, not yet, but with the part of me that decides what a person is worth. The wedding was 4 months away. The venue was booked. The dress was in my mother's closet. And I was keeping a record. If you've ever smiled through something that was quietly destroying you, this one is for you. Hit like if this already feels familiar, and subscribe to Hidden Life Files so you don't miss the end of this story. Drop in the comments, where are you watching from, and what time is it? I genuinely want to know who's up late with me. Now, let me take you back to October, to a kitchen that smelled like cumin and burnt coffee, to the first warning sign I chose to ignore. My mother, Rosario, came to this country with a nursing degree she couldn't use for 3 years. She cleaned offices on weeknights and studied at the kitchen table at 5 a.m. Quiet, deliberate, never complaining in a way that asked for anything back. My father, Eduardo, ran a landscaping business. He showed up early to everything and never mentioned it. He had a habit of pressing his thumb to his palm when he was thinking, a small, private gesture I only noticed because I spent a lot of time watching him. I put myself through medical school on loans and a research fellowship and 6 years of 4-hour nights. I was a third-year resident when I met Daniel. He was charming in the specific way of men who have always been the most interesting person in the room and have built a whole personality around confirming it. Handsome, funny. He remembered small details you told him weeks ago and brought them up like gifts. When his attention was on you, you felt like the only person worth attending to. Daniel Rios, 34, sales director, easy laugh, firm handshake. His mother adored him, the way that sometimes makes wonderful men and sometimes makes something else. The first sign came 4 months in. We were at dinner with his friends. Someone asked what I did. I said I was a resident, internal medicine. Daniel laughed and said, "She's basically still a student." Everyone laughed. I laughed. But the microwave clock behind him read 8:04 p.m., and I can still see it. I remember thinking, that was strange. Then I let it go. That's the original wound, not the cut itself, but the letting go. The engagement party was at his parents' house in November, a Saturday. The garden was strung with warm lights, good china on the table, 60 people in coats holding drinks. Everyone seemed genuinely happy. I was happy. I want to say that clearly. His uncle gave the first toast, short, warm, unremarkable. Then Daniel stood up. He tapped his glass and smiled, the performance smile, the one that said, "I know you're watching and I enjoy it," and said something about how much he loved me, how I had surprised him, and then, "Claire, I hope you know how lucky you are." Laughter. His aunt said, "Aw." He turned to the group, wine glass raised. "She likes to say she's too busy for things like this. I always tell her, you'd better make time. Not everyone gets a second chance at something good." More laughter. I felt it first in my chest, a pressure like the barometric drop before a storm. Then I felt my face, the smile on it, practiced, correct. I felt myself in the room the way I feel myself in difficult consultations, outside and inside at once, watching and being. His mother caught my eye across the garden. She gave me a small, careful smile, not the party smile, and then looked away. That was the moment I understood. She had heard him say things like this before. She had learned to look away. I said nothing. I raised my glass. I smiled. That night, lying awake while Daniel slept, I opened the Notes app on my phone. I typed the date. I typed exactly what he said. That was the first entry. Over the next 6 weeks, I tried everything. I brought it up directly, twice in conversation, once in a letter I spent 3 hours writing. He told me I was too sensitive. He told me I was reading into things. He said, with genuine bafflement, I was complimenting you. I tried couples therapy. He came once, called it her needing to process, and never went back. I tried silence. I tried warmth. I tried 4 careful conversations and 2 direct confrontations and 1 2 a.m. moment on the bathroom floor. Cold white tile, gray veining. Not crying exactly. Quieter than crying. Just very still. The thing about someone who diminishes you slowly is that it never announces itself. It arrives as jokes, as casual corrections in front of other people, as, my fiancé, she's in medicine. Well, she's almost done. The almost doing everything in that sentence. The turning point didn't come from him. It came from Dr. Adazi Okoye, my supervising physician, 53, with the authority of someone who has been underestimated her entire career and found it clarifying rather than defeating. We were reviewing charts on a Thursday when she said, without looking up, "You seem like someone waiting for permission to trust yourself." She moved on. She didn't mean it as a lesson, but I sat with it for days. I stopped trying to explain myself to Daniel. I started paying attention instead. 4 months passed. I finished my residency. I accepted a position at a community clinic 40 minutes away, a job I'd wanted for 2 years, but quietly talked myself out of because Daniel had opinions about the commute. I signed the offer letter before he was awake and felt something settle in my chest that I hadn't felt in a long time. Solidity. The satisfaction of a decision that belongs entirely to you. My friend Priya knew everything. She drove me to work when my car was in the shop. She sent leftovers and articles and 1 voice memo that said, "You don't have to earn the right to leave." The notes file had 41 entries. I hadn't planned to use them. I kept it the way some people keep journals, just to stay honest with myself. By February, I was no longer trying to save the relationship. I was calm in a way that had no anger in it, just clarity, the kind that comes when you stop arguing with reality. The wedding was March 15th. 212 people had RSVP'd yes. I had a plan. Before I tell you what happened at the wedding, what would you have done? Option A, call it off privately days before. Spare everyone the scene. Option B, let the day arrive. Let the truth land where there are witnesses. Option C, something else entirely. Drop your answer in the comments, because what I chose, I still think about it. The morning of March 15th was clear and cold. I arrived at the venue at 9 a.m., not in my dress. Black trousers, gray coat. Priya beside me, carrying a manila folder. I had asked both families to arrive at 10:30, before anyone else. I told them there was something they needed to hear. Patricia came in pale green. Robert still had the dry cleaning tag on his suit sleeve. My parents arrived 5 minutes later. My mother in navy, my father pressing his thumb to his palm. 6 chairs, a rehearsal room, the sound of the main hall being arranged drifting faintly through the wall. I said, "I'm not getting married today. I want to tell you why before anyone else arrives." I told them about the engagement party, the therapy session I attended alone, the pattern, not as accusation, but as sequence, dated, specific. The same voice I use explaining a diagnosis to a patient's family. Precise, unhurried. Daniel walked in at 10:47. He looked at the room and something moved across his face. Not guilt, calculation. He was choosing which version of himself to be. He chose warmth. Claire, whatever this is, we can talk about it. We are talking about it, I said. Baby, everyone's going to be here in an hour. I know. He laughed, the social laugh, designed to ease the room, to make the person not laughing seem like the problem. His father relaxed slightly. My mother did not. Priya opened the folder. 12 screenshots, text messages between Daniel and a woman named Serena, beginning 8 months before our engagement, continuing through the party, continuing through February. Not every message was damning alone. The pattern was. There was also a voicemail transcript. I had written it out by hand the night before, almost automatically. She doesn't know you the way I know you. Come on. She's brilliant, but she's not. And then it ended. I placed a copy in front of Daniel, one for each family. He looked at it. He said nothing. The silence stretched until the sound of chairs in the hall felt very loud. His mother read the pages, set them down. She didn't look at her son. She looked at me and said, quietly, Claire. Just my name, nothing attached. I understood. I can explain, Daniel started. I know you can, I said. I'm not here for the explanation. I stood. I said to both families, I'd appreciate it if you'd tell the guests when they arrive. I'll be at Priya's. I wish you all well. I walked out. The hallway light was pale gold. The floor was dark hardwood. Behind me, I heard Daniel say my name, then his father's voice, low, then a door closed. I kept walking. 212 people arrived. About 60 left immediately. The rest stayed, confused, or having driven too far, or needing to see it with their own eyes. Daniel's brother Marcus called that evening. I knew something was off. I am sorry I didn't say anything. I told him I didn't blame him. I meant it. My mother said almost nothing for 3 days. On the 4th, she sat across from me with 2 cups of coffee and said, I saw the way he talked to you and I thought I was seeing things. She put her hand on mine. That was the whole conversation. My father picked me up from Priya's with the car already running, took me to dinner, paid, and asked no questions. Daniel reached out 4 times. His messages were pleading, then philosophical, then oddly instructive, as if he'd identified several ways I could have handled this better. I read each one once. I didn't respond. His mother texted in April. We met at a cafe. She held her chamomile tea in both hands and said, He was difficult before you. He will be difficult after. I'm sorry that wasn't clearer. I asked if she was all right. She said, I'm working on it. I told her the same. It is November now. 8 months since the wedding that wasn't. I make coffee every morning in the apartment I signed a lease on in April. South-facing window, a radiator that ticks for 10 minutes before warming up. I know the tick now. I find it reassuring. Priya comes over on Sundays. We cook and don't talk about it much anymore, which is its own kind of healing. Daniel is, from what I hear, fine. I genuinely hope so. His being fine doesn't cost me anything. His being fine was never my problem. The notes file has 41 entries. I haven't opened it in 6 weeks. One day I'll delete it. Not yet, but one day. Silence is not the same as acceptance. I stayed quiet in that garden, at those dinners, in a dozen rooms where I should have spoken. For a long time, I held that against myself. But I understand it differently now. I was collecting information, building a case with what I had, clarity, time, and the discipline not to react before I was ready. If you've ever smiled through something that was taking pieces of you, you are not weak. You may simply be someone who needed to be sure before they moved. Be sure, then move. Leave a comment. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me what you're sitting with. I read every one. Next week on Hidden Life Files, a woman discovers something about her business partner 5 days before their company launches. You don't want to miss it. Dignity isn't loud. It's the thing still standing after everything else falls away.